Hello, everybody. Well, happy Sunday. Dr. Elsie Coe here with a special guest with us. And a last minute, she is perfect. She came out of nowhere, but she's perfect for what I'm doing. We're talking about crucial conversations, emotional intelligence, and this is her forte. Dr. Rachel Miller, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Thank you for being here. Her mantra, she told me, is connection. And let me introduce Dr. Miller. She's a full-time OBGYN, also a certified ICF coach, and also a leadership coach through John Maxwell. She has a degree in emotional intelligence, and she's a trainer and speaker. She, Please, Rachel, tell us about what do you mean by connection? Why is that so important in leadership? And then I want to talk about her specialty, which is the opposite of most of the people I speak to in coaching. Instead of physicians being coached, she's coaching the other side, which is healthcare administrators, to speak with physicians. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for having me. It's an honor and privilege to be here speaking with you today. But as far as connections are, we think that we're connected in this world. With we've got just this platform, LinkedIn and Facebook, and we've got FaceTime, and we have all of these things that make us think that we're connected. But how connected are we really? How well do we really know each other and really in tune to one another? And like I said, I follow the with working with the John Maxwell program. One of my favorite books is Everyone Communicates But Few Connect. And in that book, it talks about, we all communicate, we all talk to one another, we all, can send each other messages, but are we really truly connecting with one another? And in those connections, and when we're really wanting to connect, we are going to it takes time, it takes preparation to do those things. If you think about, remember back when if you're dating someone, you spend a lot of time in asking those questions. What is your name, where are you from, what's important to you, what are your dreams and aspirations, what's your favorite color? And those types of questions and that true interest in another person is what builds the connection to one another. And we don't see a lot of that in leadership and in healthcare leadership in general. And uh, if we got to doing more of putting forth the effort and the energy in connecting with one another, I think we all would could be better leaders.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Rachel, what would you say about to people who say, "Well, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. That's just not something I can squeeze in. I don't have time to even talk to the employee, so why should I even talk to a physician?"
Yeah. So I would then go back and say, what is your purpose, kind of slowing down. And I have a couple of different coaches, and one of them says you have to slow down to speed up. Where do we want to go in healthcare? I mean, right now we're in a healthcare crisis right now. We have doctors quitting, we have nurses quitting, we can't afford not to. And so where do we want to go? Ultimately we want to take care of our patients, we want to take care of our community, and in order to do that, we have to slow down.
Yeah.
And I that's some in our life, in our jobs, and our family, we have to slow down in order to speed up. And you talk about when you said, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to talk to employees. um and that's been what we have said for so many years. And what we're doing right now, obviously, is not working. We're going to have to think differently about our time, think differently about what's important, and think differently about our what we perceive as our priorities, so we can get out of this crisis and be able to move forward and take care of our communities.
So good. Yes, absolutely. I'm just
Mhm.
playing devil's advocate here. I just the other thing is how let's talk about the who you coach.
Yeah.
You basically approach and healthcare administrators out there
Mhm.
are listening. Do you tell them? What
Yeah.
are your top, two or three things that you tell them to
Mhm.
connect with physicians, engage them and what needs to be done and also help
Yeah.
them do their
Yeah,
jobs?
so I do. I work with physicians as well as non-clinical leaders, and the one thing we touched on it is communications or connections. Truly connecting what that looks like, what that feels like, what that sounds like, and then the next thing is talking about the importance of addressing burnout, and not just the burnout um, of the physicians. We need to do more yoga and do more mindfulness. Now, these things are important. We need those resiliency trainings, but there are other components to burnt out and things that contribute to burnt out to being burnt out. And those are the systemic contributions to burnout. So I like to talk about those things. And the other thing, last but certainly not least, and probably should be at the top, is emotional intelligence. I am a practitioner with the Genos Emotional Intelligence team, and I absolutely love their platform. It's a digital platform. Emotional intelligence. It's oftentimes difficult to explain, well, I can't explain what emotional intelligence is, but when people are talking to each other, it's oftentimes difficult for people to understand what a good emotional, like, or what a leader who is exhibiting good emotional intelligence looks like. But you certainly know when someone does not have good emotional intelligence. You're like, oh yeah, that was a bad that was a someone who does not have a good emotional intelligence
Mhm.
aspect to them. And so with the platform, we're working on emotional intelligence. You're actually specifically being able to have tidbits and takeaways of what you can do, actions that you can do um, to improve your emotional intelligence. And so
Right.
those are
Give
the
us some
three things that I would
examples
say.
of just like one or two examples of of your tips that you give. I know you have
Yeah,
a website and we'll put it in the link
right.
later, but go ahead.
So one example is a- asking someone, asking a question to someone. I was coaching an individual a few weeks ago and she was having some difficulty with communication with an office manager. And when we got into and started talking about how she can improve that relationship, she thought, well, I don't know much about the person, but I know they like Starbucks, and so she decided to ask the person, I'm headed to Starbucks. Do you want something from Starbucks? And the person actually said no, but that opened the door to the communication of the two. It was a very small request. It was or a very small question, but that helped bridge the gap to, okay, well, maybe this person isn't so bad. Maybe I can have conversations with another individual.
Yeah, it's just being a little bit curious about the other
Mhm.
person and not
Yeah.
focusing on what you want to say and your agenda.
Right.
It's finding out what does the other person want and where is our mutual
Mhm.
purpose? Where can we come together to get things done in the right
Mhm.
way together instead of, me against you. I think that's really
Right.
important. Thank you for that. And so, in terms of telling healthcare administrators out there about physicians, it's learning about more about the physicians, learning about their vantage point. How can we help them? I think it's all about employees helping employees to do their jobs. Would you
Right.
agree? Helping
Exactly.
employees
Yes.
be better at what they're doing by supporting them. That way, we can help our patients.
Right, right. And asking and going back to asking the questions, every hospital is going to be, a little bit different, but especially when you have a new healthcare leader that comes in from an outside organization, what may be important to physicians at one organization may be different to the physicians at another organization. So you really have to take a step back and say, okay, what is important to the people at this organization? What is important to the physicians? What is important to administration? is the mission of the hospital and the values of the hospital system or the healthcare organization, are they in line with the physicians and the healthcare practitioners of this organization,
Right,
and
and
really
different
taking a step
specialties
back.
might have different
Mhm.
needs,
Different
as well as
specialties.
different venues, like you said, different organizations, and even on an individual basis, there might be something going on with that one individual that you're
Right.
trying to help, and they need to be pulled aside and helped, differently, so
So avoiding those assumptions, because it's
yes.
go into an organization, and if you have assumption or preconceived notions about how the organization is being run, what their needs are, that's when that's just a setup for not being successful.
Yep, I love that. We always create stories on the facts, and it's
Mhm.
better to deal with the facts and be open to what we're perceiving and saying, what else am I not thinking here? Shouldn't
Right.
I be listening to someone else's point of view first before I make a decision instead of jumping to conclusions? Because that's how we as humans, as animals,
Correct.
react to what's going on in front of us. So I love
Right.
that. Thank you so much. So how can we reach out to you, Rachel? How
So
can someone find you and get some help for their organization?
yeah, so my website is pocketbridges.com. Pocket bridges bridges.com. That's my website. There's a direct link that you can schedule an appointment with me through my website. And I'm also here on LinkedIn under Rachel Miller MD. You can find me there. So linkedin.com/in/ Rachel Miller MD. You can find me there.
Great. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. And your website is Pocket Bridges LLC. Thank you.
Yes.
And one last thing is, can we share your email or
Yeah,
Instagram?
sure. It's
Okay,
my email is rachel.miller@pocketbridges.com. So RACHEL.Miller MILLER @pocketbridges.com. And I'm also at on Instagram at Pocket Bridges. Pocket Bridges is the Instagram handle.
great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love learning from physician leaders, coaches. If you have a story to tell, please reach out to me. My email is info@drlcco.com. It's time to have physicians step up and be the leaders in the field so that we don't have physicians leaving. We got to help each other so that we can transform healthcare in a safe and effective way that makes everyone happy. Also, check out our website. We do have a leadership program showing up on January 10 for physicians with a great group of faculty on our program, which is an online Zoom program and also self learning with one-on-ones. So I'm happy to talk to anyone who's interested in that. Thank you so much, Dr. Miller. I appreciate it. And everyone have a happy Sunday. See you next Sunday.